Hey, it's Webs here, and it's time for our cards to align so we can pull off a SIlas OTK. This deck, like many others that I have posted in the past, was inspired by the Warrior OTK combo with SIlas, and if you already can't tell, SIlas is one of my favorite cards currently in Standard, as it allows you to make a bunch of different wacky decks in basically every single class in the game, if you just think about it for a little bit. The idea behind this deck is to pull off the stereotypical SIlas combo after you use Celestial Alignment to set your mana back to 0 and discount all the cards in your deck and hand to 1. This allows you to actually have the combo pretty easily as long as you can draw into the combo, which is why we're including some cards like Jerry-Rig Carpenter, which is new with the new mini set, as this allows your Nourish to turn into 4 cards, which combos out really well with Gadgets and Auctioneer once you're in the Celestial Alignment phase of the deck. You do have to worry sometimes about overdrawing, and that can actually lose you some games. However, you do have the backup plan of the Cenarian Ward minions that you generate to actually beat your opponent if you need to, or out survive them with a bunch of armor. For mulligans, you're looking to keep cards like Jerry-Rig Carpenter in your opening hand, along with Guess the Weights, Nature Studies, and even Overgrowth, which in combination with each other can sometimes allow you to ramp up pretty quickly, thus allowing you to get a Celestial Alignment before your opponent actually plays enough things on board where you're just going to lose once you do. Another card that's really good to keep in your opening hand, which is another new card from the mini set, is Moonlit Guidance. This will also allow you to duplicate some of the combo pieces that you need, or some mana gain, or even some card draw, all of which is actually really good. For pre-Celestial Alignment, cards that you don't want to keep in your opening hand are basically the combo pieces, because they're going to brick you, at least before you have Celestial Alignment. Sure, you can keep maybe 1 or 2 in the opening hand if you think you can actually survive by doing so, but I don't honestly recommend it. Gadgets and Auctioneer is also another card you probably shouldn't keep in your opening hand, as sure, once you're in alignment, it's great, but before, it's kind of dead, because most of your spells are higher cost. That being said, let's get into the games. Alright, time for a game against Mage. It's actually been quite a while since I saw that Adguard portrait. Okay, for this opening hand, I'm just going to keep the Overgrowth, because that's the only useful card here. Drawing to a Nature Studies, which is pretty good, and the Lunar Eclipse, if they had any minions, would be good. But it is one of our combo pieces, so it's not bad to have it this early. Going to grab Guess the Weight. They're not questline, that's actually a shock. I wonder which type of mage they are. I'm going to hero power because I want to use the Overgrowth on turn 3. Draw into a Moonlight Guidance, actually pretty good. Arcane Intellect, that's interesting. Going to use the Guidance, grabbing the Jerry-Rig here, so we can actually grab both Nourishes out of the deck and actually have 4 cards instead of just 2, and not worry about drawing into them actually. This hand is perfect for our combo. Sure, we're missing the combo pieces themselves, but we do have the Celestial Alignment before they have anything they can actually do. They're going to trade in their Fire Cell again. I wonder if tradable cards actually have a higher % chance of drawing into the other copy of the tradable card, because it sure feels like whenever I trade in a tradable card, it gives me that card as the other copy. So they're Elemental Mage, interesting. Kind of odd that they're using Arcane Intellect. I guess it's for more draw power, but honestly, I'd rather just have a bunch of tutors to actually draw my combo pieces or my survivability cards, but it is what it is, I guess. Just going to gain a bunch of mana here, then draw a bunch of cards. Drawing into the second Celestial Alignment, which isn't really that good. Going to draw 3 more cards. Drawing into a Cenarian Ward, a Jerry-Rig, and Overgrowth. Going to trade in the Best in the Shells, get the Solar Eclipse. Going to use the Cenarian Ward just so we don't mill any cards. That's actually probably one of the worst options that we could have got off of that, even though we're a spell-based deck. Doesn't actually do us anything. Grand Finale, that's fine. Kind of a waste, but that's still fine. Though, I guess if they have a Battleground Battlemaster, they'll be perfectly fine here. Grabbing the Lady Anacondra, that's actually really nice. Now all of our spells cost 0 that are nature. We're going to draw the Gadgets and Auctioneer, which is pretty good. Thrall and and when I really wanted. Gonna get Guess the Weight, drawing into the Oracle, which we needed. Going to use the Lightning Bloom, drawing into a Nature Studies, drawing into Best in the Shell. Going to grab the Feral Rage, Guess the Weight again, and then we're out of time, sadly. I could have played actually a lot faster there. I just was trying to think of how to not accidentally mill some combo pieces, because I definitely have done that in the past. Fire Cell. I guess that wipes out our board, which isn't too awful. We were super lucky that was Cenarian Ward. Gonna trade in, grab the Lightning Bloom, which we don't actually need. Trying into the Ashen Tongue. Gonna play the Jerry Rig just to get it out of our hand so we have one less. And use one Lunar Eclipse on the 8-8, or the 8-2 at this point. So the next two cards we have in our deck are SIlas and Best in the Shell, so no matter what, we have combo next turn. And sorry to say it for our opponent, they have no way to win. Even if they have a counter spell, we can try to cheat out combo by playing a different spell first. Drawing into Best in the Shell, which is fine, it just makes us one more card. And now time for full combo. Behold, 48 damage. Alright, time for a game against Shaman. Man, that's one of those skins that I really wish I had actually bought when it was in the store. All of the fairy tale skins are actually pretty cool. The Jaina one I like the least, but I just couldn't rationalize spending $25 on them. Grabbing the Innervate. Having the Jerry Rig Carpenter in the opening hand is so good for this deck. Just because you never want a hard draw into Nourish if you can help it. Having both sides of Nourish is honestly great. Gonna play Guess the Weights. We get Andacondra. Best in the Shell, which is one of the only cards in the deck that it wouldn't have actually done anything with. Grabbing the Guidance just because Guidance is pretty strong, even if you're just gaining an additional copy of a card. Overgrowth, okay. And then we're just going to coin out nothing and then shuffle back the Best in the Shell. Again, I don't want to mill any combo pieces because that's actually quite depressing. Circus Amalgam. So I wonder if they're N'Zoth Shaman. That was a deck that I saw pop up right around the time I made the Murloc list. And I was like, holy shit, that's a deck just straight up my alley. And I just haven't gotten around to actually playtesting it yet. And it's been a while since I've done anything with Druid, so. I keep getting the combo pieces, which is pretty good because we can do Celestial Alignment right here. We actually have quite a good hand for the Celestial Alignment. We're going to gain 2 more mana, draw 3 cards, drawing into more of our combo. All we're missing is the Oracle at this point, which is really good. Going to use Guidance, grabbing the Cenarian Ward, play the Cenarian Ward for free, get the second one out of the deck, play another Moonlit Guidance, grabbing the third Cenarian Ward, playing it for free, playing the fourth one for free. And then here I probably could have done Celestial Alignment again. That would have probably been the finishing move for this game, but oh well. I was hoping to actually get the combo out next turn. Come on, kill some of my minions so I can do full combo. That's all I want. They are N'Zoth Shaman. It makes sense, honestly. That deck has been popping up a lot more. A lot of people are actually covering it, and it's actually a pretty cool, unique deck to try out. Alright, they're killing our Andacondra. That's not a combo piece, but it is useful. Oh, am I just going to try to go for this combo right here without the Oracle? I forgot about that, actually. And they give up before I can actually go full combo. That's kind of sad. Alright, time for the final game against Rogue. Having a Nourish and a Carpenter in hand is actually pretty bad. Gonna hopefully get rid of the Nourish, but knowing my luck, we'll draw into the second copy. Instead, we get the Auctioneer, which actually is pretty alright, I guess. Jerry Rig Carpenter is actually a lot better of a card than I initially thought it would be, because I did not expect Blizzard to make the 2 halves actually cost 1 if you use Celestial Alignment. That was actually a big shock. Their quest line, that's actually a shock. Going to pass the turn. Gonna play the Jerry Rig. I want to make a rogue version of this deck. I think that's the last class that I'm missing that there's actually a reason to try to play SIlas in. I could be wrong. I guess you could pull it off in Shaman and Mage too, but I don't understand why you would try to. Trying into Oracle, which is useless. Let's just Overgrowth here though. And by useless, I mean useless until we can actually get the combo online. The second Jerry Rig, great. And the next turn we have Celestial Alignment, so we should be able to reset our mana pretty quickly, actually. I'm gonna guess smaller, just because I didn't actually want to draw a card here. They're gonna draw 2 cards, okay. And we mill one of our combo pieces. Well, that means the combo is dead. But we are Celestial Alignment, so we still have ways to win, actually. We just need to stick a bunch of huge minions on the board, and then we should be fine, actually. Kinda sucks for them, they're not going to be able to play their questline reward anytime soon. That's the perfect top deck. Now we reset our mana by a little bit. Trying into the Artificer, which is kind of dead at this point. Gaining the Innervate. Going to get more mana. Going to draw 4 cards here. Well, I would grab the Cenarian Ward, but the hand is full, so we don't actually get it. Drawing into the Lightning Bloom. Drawing into the second Celestial Alignment. Artificer. And then the Cenarian Ward. Behold, my big board of big minions. They're going to play an Informant. So that Informant is actually kind of scary, but at the same time, we can technically steal it because it's the leftmost card, which is kind of funny. They're going to kill the Auctioneer, milling our second Cenarian Ward. Just going to try to get another Cenarian Ward off of this, but I don't think we'll be able to. Going to give them SIlas because it does nothing for us. Then we can play a bunch of minions, kill the 8/8, see what we generate off of that. And we should have actually played the Celestial Alignment, but oh well. Rogue has no way to do a bunch of damage to individual minions, so I'm not too worried about the Artificers actually screwing us over. They don't have enough mana for their questline reward, so there's that. And for having the world's most unlucky burns, we win. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's discuss how well the deck did and why I built the deck the way it did. So this deck actually performed better than I expected, and I keep saying that with most of the SIlas combos because I'm expecting them not to actually do anything, but each one besides the Priest actually feels like a better variant of Warrior, even though people just focus on the Warrior variant, which is a shock to me and a lot of other people probably. The idea behind this deck and the way it's built is you are a normal Celestial Alignment deck, but instead of using Survival Instincts to buff up your minions that you generate off of Cenarian Ward, or use Arbor Up as a way to buff your minions, or even use Pirates to OTK your opponent that way, you're using the SIlas package instead, but even though it's different, it actually doesn't affect your win rate that much when it comes to Celestial Alignment decks. This has actually probably around the same win rate as most other Celestial Alignment decks. Some of the odd choices that I made for this deck would be Best in the Shell. This card is meant to stall out if you're about to actually Celestial Alignment. It also acts as a way to cycle through your deck. If you're running into a bunch of weapon-based decks, you can put in the Viper that destroys the weapon but has tradable instead. Honestly, probably just as good. You can also put in cards like Feral Rage just so you have some more survivability before your big Celestial Alignment turns. But overall, I would say most of these cards outside of the SIlas engine don't actually feel that awkward to use. And even then, the SIlas engine isn't the worst because you're not actually changing the deck up much to include this engine. You're just removing some alternate win conditions and then filling the place with 4 additional units. The MVP of this deck, shockingly, was Jerry-Rig Carpenter. This card is really insane because honestly, at first appearance, I would not assume the split card would cost only 1 while in Celestial Alignment, but to my shock, and probably to the shock of a lot of people, it does. So you can actually have both your additional 2 mana for each nourish that you have in the deck and the 3 draw, which is insane once you get into Celestial Alignment, and it also lets you survive for quite a bit longer. Moonlight Guidance is also a new card from the new mini set. This card is actually pretty insane as long as you think of it as a card to get additional copies in your hand and not actually draw the original card out of your deck, because there's a lot of games where you actually just want the additional copy and you don't care if you draw the original card also, because there are times in this deck where your hand is so completely full that if you drew the original card, you're just going to burn the next card that you're going to draw. And a lot of the time, the cards that are going to be in your deck, for some weird reason, is going to be the combo pieces that you actually need. And if you burn any of those, you could actually screw yourself out of the combo. Overall, I would say this deck was a pleasant surprise, and I actually enjoyed testing it out a lot. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye bye.